Very good. Jim Joyce sent me a text message yesterday. Of course, he's the CEO, inventor of Sigyn Therapeutics, stock symbol SIGY. And he sent me an article entitled, "Scientists Finally Know Why Kidney Patients Die of Heart Disease." And we texted back and forth, but this is really exciting for what they're doing here.
Yeah.
Jim Joyce joins us here on the Big Biz Show. Again, CEO of inventor as well, Sigyn Therapeutics, CIGY. Jim, at first I thought you were going to come on the show and bitch and moan that your Denver Broncos, who you played for, lost in the AFC Championship. It's good to know we're talking about your company.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. It was a good it was a good year for the Broncos.
It was. It's also a good year for Sigyn Therapeutics. Talk about what's going on.
Well, quite simply, we've established a pathway into treating cardiovascular disease. And this is the #1 cause of death. In the United States, it's been the #1 cause of death for more than a century straight. So it's a major problem in healthcare. And quite simply, current drugs to treat cardiovascular disease, such as statins, they're single target drugs. And these drugs have the ability to reduce what are known as major adverse cardiovascular events by about 25%. But it's been discovered, and then with products approved through FDA, that you can increase reduce the incidence of major adverse cardiovascular events by up to 75 to 90% with devices that can remove multiple targets. And that's what we're doing. We're advancing a device called CardioDialysis. It addresses lipoproteins that transport cholesterol. It addresses inflammatory factors that fuel the progression of cardiovascular disease. But then, as Sully mentioned, there was a great article in the Washington Post over the weekend related to the discovery of circulating particles that are released by failing kidneys into the bloodstream that are toxic to the heart.
So Jim, real quick, just to, in layman's terms, it means the kidneys are releasing something in the bloodstream that's damaging the heart. Simple as that, correct?
Yes, that's exactly correct.
And so as that relates to what you're doing, it's like right in your wheelhouse. I mean, it's yet another key selling opportunity for you in terms of FDA, in terms of efficacy, in terms of another therapy inside of this therapy.
It's quite important. Historically, with cardiovascular disease, there was a belief that lipoproteins transporting cholesterol were a primary driver. But today we know that inflammation, these inflammatory factors, are a secondary driver of cardiovascular disease, and they can cause progression even in individuals with controlled cholesterol levels. So broad spectrum targeting is crucially important. And as we continue to learn about new discoveries of things that are inducing cardiovascular disease, the understanding that a device can remove a broad spectrum of these targets effectively just continues to support the premise that we're advancing here at Sigyn Therapeutics.
Jim, is it accurate to say, and I don't know if I read this from you or read this elsewhere, that about 70% of dialysis patients end up dying of cardiovascular disease, not from the kidney part of it, but from the cardiovascular part of it, correct?
Yeah, this is our major target audience initially. And our focus is working with the dialysis industry. There are two major players that control about 75% of the market. That's DaVita and Fresenius Medical Care. And as you mentioned, approximately 67% of their patients die from cardiovascular disease. They're at high risk because during their normal dialysis treatment, it creates an inflammatory response that over time just creates this chronic loop of inflammation that accelerates cardiovascular disease. The ability to treat these patients and extend their lives can have a major impact in industry. You can calculate based on the nationwide networks of Fresenius and DaVita that each 100 days of extended lives of their patient population, that's worth about $3 billion in top line revenues.
Wow.
Jim, I can't recall, is this cardiodialysis treatment, it is administered at the same time as the dialysis, is that correct?
That's exactly what we'd be doing in dialysis patients, is including our treatment in series during the regularly scheduled dialysis treatment. So it's extremely convenient. And we have this benefit of knowing that there is an FDA-approved device called lipoprotein apheresis. These devices have dual mechanisms of action, the ability to reduce lipoprotein A and LDL-C, which is the target of statins. But these devices have been demonstrated, as published by the American Heart Association, that they can reduce major adverse cardiovascular events by 75 to 95%. Now, if you compare that to the current standard of care with LDL reducing statins, that's a remarkable improvement in patient outcomes and remarkable improvement in patient benefit. Unfortunately, these devices, their availability is limited, but if they were broadly available, these devices could save hundreds of thousands of lives each year. So we're advancing our technology on the global infrastructure of dialysis machines, which are already located in more than 7,500 dialysis clinics in the U.S. alone.
Jim Joyce, CEO, inventor, former Denver Bronco, Sigyn Therapeutics Incorporated, ticker symbol SIGY. Jim, always great to visit with you. Can't wait to have you again on the program.
You're going to see a lot more of this guy.
Oh, yeah, big time.